Hello and welcome to the Freelancers Coffee Break podcast. I'm your host Ali, and with my co-host Mehmet we talk about freelancing, business, and so forth. So Mehmet, uh, how have you been? It's been a long time
Yeah,
since
it's
we
been a
shot.
very, very long time. You've been very busy.
Yes, sir. I have been very busy. Yeah, but there was like the holidays in between, so I was not always that busy. But yeah, it is what it is. So here we are again.
Yeah. So
So
what are
how
you
have you
thinking
been?
about?
How have you been?
Um,
I
for
see
for
you're
me,
you're active on LinkedIn.
yeah, I'm semi-active on LinkedIn. I try to be active, but there are some people on LinkedIn that they post daily. I'm not that much active. I try to see and create content for LinkedIn as well. Well, it's not always the case. When I find time and I feel the need or share something, I try to. I also follow up a lot of LinkedIn posts, try to see if there is any valuable recommendation when I see something like that I post as well. Besides that, the work is on average, I would say. Maybe, you know, we are entering the summer time. There is a bit of slowdown, but I guess that it's just the opposite for you.
Uh, I don't have new clients, so it's just like we're seeing growth with our clients as they grow. We're growing, so we're trying to do our best to deliver value as much as we can, so they can grow. And uh, yeah, so that's how why I was like really, really busy. And
Mhm.
also, like, there's the fact that there are things that only I can do within the business. So I had to be working in the business rather than working on the business. There was a period where I was literally doing nothing but like managing. But yeah, those days are over. And I'm glad, I'm back in
And
the,
how many people
yeah,
are you right now?
6, 7 with me. 7, hold up. 4, 6, 7, 8 with me now. We're 8, yeah. We got one more recruit this month. Dokan was
Enough
like,
people to open an actual office.
yeah, it is. It is. And it seems we will be growing even more within the coming years if we keep this pace and, keep delivering the value. And it's a challenge for sure. Not easy, but yeah, it's like too late to go back now. So
Yeah.
I'm just going with it. Yeah.
So what are your main cost items? One is salaries for sure.
Yeah. Salaries, there are also the subscriptions, like, for the website.
What are you paying for? Paid subscription. Which services are
Um,
you spending your money on?
so for business,
Anything that you buy business or even leisure if you want to.
okay.
If you are watching Netflix while doing work, I don't know if you can do that in voice editing.
No,
For
my net.
example, I pay money for that kind of services because retouching is a silent job. So in next screen, if there is a Netflix
Oh,
movie,
I
I
got
can do
all of
that.
them. I got all of them. Netflix, Prime, Disney. They're cheap. So,
Yeah, in Turkey they are cheap. In Turkey
yeah, they
compared
are.
to national other countries, they are cheap. Are
Yeah.
you able to use them while working?
Oh, it's
No.
just like before I go to sleep, maybe. Yeah, there are a whole bunch of like streaming subscriptions. There's also like subscriptions like Slack. We pay like
Mm. So you are paying
75.
Slack
Yeah.
as well. What
Yeah.
else?
$75
What is that?
around.
Whoa,
Yeah, it's like per person. So
$75 per person.
no, 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 no,
Ah,
no. In
okay.
total,
Ah, okay.
uh, yeah. So they take into account who's active, who's not active. So they bill you accordingly. Slack is great in that sense. Yeah. There's also like stuff that, for example, this month we had to outsource the color correction. So I'll be paying a ton of money to Tolga for that. This month
Mm.
I did, and like next month I promised him I'm gonna pay him some more. Um, but yeah, like I wanna like drop this detail here. So Tolga was telling me that he did a job for Turkish Airlines.
Mm-hmm.
The color correction, they built them around, I think, $1,500 per minute. Yeah. And he did a bunch of minutes for us. What he told me in terms of price was, hey, Ali, like throw whatever you can, you know, I'm not trying to, he also, I think, sees this as like a future investment that he's doing, in the future, because I tell him, Tolga, we're going to need this more and more. So, yeah, so he's very flexible with it, which is very comforting for me. Yeah, so other than that, Mehmet, I'm still like building my house.
Yeah, I noticed your walls were dark red. Now they are green.
Green. Yeah, that's like my landlord paid for that, but yeah, like still missing some basic stuff after 3 years. So yeah, so there are like costs always, family related. Like I'm usually broke
Yeah.
personally, usually I don't have like really much money, and people are shocked that like I don't have much money in my pool, or I don't even have a pool of money where I keep aside. So yeah,
That's a bit risky.
for me it's like all the people that I work with, I made them get like credit cards, and whenever I need money, they just give me and I pay them back. So it's like, it's a system that's like really chaotic but works. But yeah, I'm just, you know, still surviving, to be honest.
Yeah, it looks like you are. Uh, does Americans tell it you are walking on a tin rope or something like that?
Yeah, yeah,
Your
that's what
situation
it
is
is.
like
You're
that. Yeah.
taking risks constantly. It's like yeah, that's right. I am. I'm
So
so used to it that I don't care. So,
yeah, I'm
how about
checking
you?
what I'm paying. So I have a list in my Notion page where I regularly pay. I have two internet service providers, so I pay two different internet companies.
Why?
I
Why
hate
do
it
you have to?
when internet drops. I hate it. So I have a one backup line.
My internet usually never almost drops. Plus, I can connect to my phone's internet if that happens.
I can do that too, but I think I like it having
Just
a
to be
second.
safe, like your hard
Yeah,
drives.
yeah.
Crazy.
But what I
Crazy.
see at this moment, your upload speed isn't that good. Usually it used to be very good. Now I see.
Actually, I'm right now uploading some videos. So,
Okay, that's the reason.
yeah.
Yeah, it's bit slow. So I pay to LinkedIn monthly so that I can just message
Oh,
people when needed on
oh, it's
LinkedIn.
premium.
Yeah, it's premium. I pay to Riverside so that we can record this video here.
Yep.
From the ones we tested, I think this one is the best so far. And in fact, since we didn't do any video for some time, I wanted to cancel the subscription but when I hit the cancel button, they said, "Hold on, we'll give you 3 months free. Would you like to try it a bit more?" I said, "Okay, if you are giving 3 months free, then I'll try it."
Yeah. Yeah, I love Riverside. I subscribe to their uh one of my clients sent it to me, affiliate program,
Mm.
and they actually paid me like $140 or something a couple months ago.
So one of your clients started using it.
And you know how it happened? I actually, most of my clients use Riverside, and I was the one making them use it.
Mm.
So I never got anyone to sign up with an affiliate link, but I was like,
Mm.
so their slogan is like Friends of Riverside, right?
Mm.
So I emailed them. I said, look, these are my clients, and they signed up to Riverside because I told them to, and I didn't even know there was an affiliate
Mm.
program. So I am a true friend of Riverside. You should pay me. And they said, okay. So they replied, and yeah, they just went with it, which is really cool, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Now you should send the affiliate link to your clients.
Yeah, I do. I
Yeah,
do.
yeah. So what I'm checking, I pay Spotify. Again, it's cheap in Turkey. I have the duo package so that my wife can use it too. Of
Same.
course, I pay to Adobe. You
Yeah.
have Adobe subscription
Yeah.
too? Full
I
pack?
have actually like two.
Two. Okay. Two plus, that means 4 users you have.
Yeah.
I have Google Drive and Apple's iCloud, two separate.
Same. By the way,
Hmm.
I just noticed a couple months ago, actually last month I noticed this.
Hmm.
So my domain is from Google and
Hmm.
I'm signed up to Google Workspaces. So I got my emails from Google
Mhm.
and they give you 15 terabytes of space.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Ah.
Yeah, which is really cool. A
I'm
lot of
I'm
space.
using for mail. I'm using some company called Zoho. They
Okay. I
are
know Zoho.
Indian, but much cheaper for mail hosting, email hosting. So I'm using Zoho for emails, and I'm happy with it. I'm paying monthly to Midjourney. You used to have Midjourney.
Yeah.
Do you still have it or no? Not anymore.
Actually, I am gonna sign up again because I heard about their new function where you can create a character and you can just use that character in different scenes.
Character references, yes, you
Yeah,
can
which
do.
is really cool. I'm gonna make a comic book. I told you this, I think, on the
Yeah.
podcast. Yeah. It's one of my
Okay.
small projects.
I'm using something called Magnific AI to upscale some images for especially AI generated images.
By the way, so one of the
That's
projects,
expensive though. Magnific is like $39 per month.
wow. So one of the projects that we've been doing is helping with the renewal of the website of TechGC with their new branding, and so they had these like headshots which had to be, you know, a certain way so that all of them are similar.
Mhm.
Which were like some of them were really low quality, and like cut off from here, so you couldn't do it. But now Canva, whatever, has this function where you can expand an image and you can upscale, which works really good, Mehmet, and it's a lot cheaper than $39.
Yeah, but what Magnific does is a bit different. You need to see what it does,
Okay. Okay,
Yeah.
that's
But
expensive
it's
though.
expensive. I agree. What else I'm paying for? I'm paying for YouTube Premium because I watch a lot of YouTube videos when
Yeah.
I'm working, and I am sick of those ads. I don't want to
Yeah.
see them.
Same. It's cheap. Like what? $2? Like the premium
Yeah,
is like $2.
exactly $2
Yeah.
1 cent. What else I'm paying for? Then I'm paying for my websites, Squarespace.
My God, so expensive. Squarespace is so expensive. But I
It's
am
like
paying them too.
monthly. It's $21. Squarespace.
I'm paying 27.
27 to whom?
Squarespace.
You're also hosting it on
Yeah.
Squarespace. Maybe because
Oh, by
I'm
the
the
way, check
old
this
client.
out. Check
Yeah.
this out. Check my shirt. Look, this is our logo.
P. Is it P?
Yeah, it's P.
Okay.
It's podcast. It's a birthday gift from
So
Doğukan.
your website is active?
Yeah, we did a renewal. Actually, Doğukan did it, and he did a great job. So we just need to change our photos, and yeah, it looks really dope. You should check it out sometime.
It's podcrafters.com?
No, it's podcrafts.io.
.io. Okay. I'll have a look at it.
Some dude is still trying to sell me podcrafts.com for like $3,000.
Huh.
But yeah, I'm not buying.
Yeah, I don't think you need to. There will be always someone who will try to do that. Okay, I'm checking your website. Looks nice.
Yeah, looks neat.
Yeah.
Doğukan, see, Doğukan has some. I told you, he's multi-talented, man. You can do a lot of stuff, He did all the branding, everything.
Nice thing about Squarespace, there are platforms that are more flexible, more, design friendly sites such
Yeah,
as Webflow, but they are a bit complicated. With Squarespace, it's much easier to update and change stuff. So
exactly.
I was thinking about leaving Squarespace, go to Webflow. One is porting cost was a bit high, so I wasn't very happy about it. The other is, as I said, changing things on Squarespace was much easier. So I said, okay, I'll redesign everything on Squarespace again. It's much easier than porting to another platform.
Yeah, I didn't give up on Squarespace either. I did think of other options, and their hosting is like quite good. Their loading times
Yeah.
and so forth. So, and there are a lot of experts. If you're looking for one, this like WordPress, almost as good as
Uh,
WordPress in terms of
yeah,
like,
but
develop.
WordPress, I don't like the technology and
No,
uh,
no, no. I'm
user
talking about,
friendliness of WordPress.
yeah, I know. But I'm talking about like if you're looking for a customization,
Mm.
you can easily find an expert on
Yeah,
Squarespace.
yeah, definitely. It's most common platform for web, I guess,
Yeah,
for
it's
WordPress.
one of them at least.
Yeah. So what I pay also, I pay for Grammarly
Yeah,
because I heavily use when I'm writing proposals, websites, and so on. Any content, I make Grammarly go through it, so I save time
yeah.
from there.
Grammarly is, yeah, it's useful, but you have ChatGPT now, so
Yeah,
I'm
but
not sure.
you have to copy then paste it. What
To
Grammarly does
to
is,
rephrase.
yeah, you just type it on the screen, and while typing, it just corrects it. You don't have to copy and then paste it.
Oh, okay.
You
It's a
have
race
it
to
has,
the it's a race to the bottom with all these
yeah,
AI tools, man. It's
yeah,
crazy.
and yeah, Grammarly also writes and provides suggestion. Shall we write this sentence like this kind of things?
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
What
By the
else?
way, I just
Yeah.
subscribed for this like new thing I found called Suno AI. So you go in there, you write a
Mm.
prompt, you say, hey, like make me an R&B song
Mm.
about Mehmet, who was like a great freelancer and was like really good at it, or who's also a photo toucher, and then just does it. Writes the lyrics,
Mm.
the whole instrumentation is crazy. Like the quality is not there yet in terms of like technical quality, how it sounds. But all the instrumentation, all the lyrics, all the melodies are there. It's crazy.
There is something called for sound audio. Have you heard of it?
Nah.
There are so many AI stuff coming out. Are you still paying for 11 Labs? You used to
Yeah.
pay for it. Yeah?
There's nothing like 11 Labs, Mehmet.
Mm.
11
For
Labs is
sound,
great.
yeah. Well, where are you using it exactly?
Actually, I haven't used it like in the past 3 months, 4 months,
Mm.
but yeah, occasionally something comes up and I use
Mm.
it, and it's cheap. It's like $5. So
Okay. You keep it on the side.
yeah, I just keep it in any case, and they deserve it, to be honest. I'm happy to like keep paying them $5 a month.
I also use something called Flexibits. I'm sure you're not using it.
What is that?
Flexibit is like Calendly. You know Calendly?
Yeah.
It only works with Mac computers.
Hold up. Let me note this because I need something like that. Flexible.
Flexibit, yeah. And what is the difference between Flexibits and Calendly is that Calendly, you have to be using Google Calendar for it. Flexibit is any kind of calendar works with it, and whatever calendar you're using, and
Okay.
you can create different calendars. For example, I say for Upwork meetings, use this link. For Fiverr, this. For my personal
Okay.
meetings, these. And you can send these links to people and say, okay, I'm available on these dates between these times. And it also checks your calendar. Let's say 5 minutes before someone books a time from you, the next person coming in won't see that time, of course, as it's booked. So it won't be available for him to see. So if there are a lot of bookings going on, it kind of automatically changes it.
Okay. That's yeah. How do you find these?
I I liked Calendly a lot, but as I said, there were some issues with it. So I searched, if there is anything that is similar to it that doesn't have the restrictions that I don't like with Calendly. So I found it. And as a Mac user, when I found only thing it only works with Mac computers and iPhones and so on, I said no problem. All my computers are Mac.
Yeah.
So
I am gonna get a new MacBook, by the way. M4 is coming,
that will
and
be a huge cost.
I'm gonna buy that motherfucker. For
What
sure.
are you planning to invest in?
M4.
MacBook Pro?
Yeah, Pro M4 when it comes out.
You are waiting for it to come out.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna buy it
Mm,
for sure though. Like this is because M1 is like still a really, really good computer for
I
sure.
agree. I
But
agree.
I need something
I
better.
think it will come most likely by the end of this year.
Yeah, I think so too.
For holiday season, before Christmas, before
Yeah.
our works get slowed
I
down.
just can't wait for that shit, Mehmet. That's gonna be a fucking monster. That's gonna be like the true monster, you know? With
I
the
think
no,
more or less these are my cost items. I don't pay for ChatGPT. I paid it for a couple of months, but I didn't see much use of it, If
I use it
something,
daily,
yeah,
but I don't think it's necessary. Like
yeah.
it's the ChatGPT for the speaking function is really good because like you can have like a real conversation.
But it's
And
also available for free users as well.
not all the time. We can use it
Yeah,
for
they limit it when it is too busy. But I had my son speak, try some English courses with it, and they spoke and corrected him and so on.
okay. Okay, yeah. It's gonna be great. We're living
Yeah.
in a great time. You know, we saw the internet, how internet came to our lives, and now we're seeing AI. Maybe we're gonna see the end of the world too, Mehmet. You know?
I don't know, but for sure things are getting faster and faster. Things that in my childhood that I wouldn't even be able to dream is becoming a reality,
Yeah.
because in my childhood we had Knight Rider, a car that speaks and goes by itself.
Yeah.
That was the most advanced thing, and we knew that it was a kind of a fairy tale. Now it's
Yeah, the
more or less,
speaking car, right?
yeah,
Dun, dun, dun,
speaking
dun,
car,
dun,
kit.
dun, dun.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how
kit.
that was music, right?
Yeah, yeah. David Hasselhoff.
I was really little. Like I was like a 5-year-old,
Uh,
4-year-old. I remember the Night
yeah,
Rider.
I was going probably primary school and so on. And
Yeah,
it was, so it's not a fairy tale, but it's like a science fiction thing.
yeah,
Now you have electric cars, they go by themselves. They don't speak, but if you just connect them to ChatGPT, you can make them talk for sure.
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy how
Yeah,
things changed.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll see how things go for freelancers. I see that a lot of freelancers are afraid of AI. Not me, because I already made money out of it. I don't know if it will continue like this, but AI cannot make a design by itself. Still, they need someone to tell what they want and how they want it.
A true prompt engineer needs to be doing that stuff
Yeah,
for
yeah,
some time. You know, it's not
yeah.
easy to get like good stuff because there's gonna be better
Same for
stuff.
sound, same for text. You can
I think Mehmet,
ask it to write an article, but still, you need to have some points. You have to read through it and
I
correct
think
it when, yeah.
I heard this on a podcast and they were talking about like even if AI takes away jobs, if it's used for the right purposes, it will bring prosperity like around the
Mhm.
globe and people will lean towards science, towards
Mhm.
innovation, towards creativity. more and more people will lean into that, and I think that's great.
I agree. Some jobs may disappear. For example, when there's new cars enter the market, horse riders, carriage riders disappear. But then there was the drivers, car drivers and so on. Either you learn how to drive a car, or if you insist on driving a horse carriage, then you become jobless. But if you update yourself, if you change, and you say, okay, from now on I'm going to drive a car and will pick up clients like that, then you continue. Of course, in the future, there may not be a need for a driver with an electric car. Then you find another job that is still making money.
Yeah, I always
For
say,
example, yeah,
whatever skill sets you get from
yeah,
whatever you're doing, you can just implement it, and just change the things you're doing, but just implement the systems that you've been using. It could be even your like workout system if you never worked, but like if you're
mhm,
like a bodybuilder, then you still have systems. When you're playing a
mhm,
game, you have a system again to, beat the game, a computer
mhm,
game.
mhm.
So yeah, it's just a matter of implementation.
Yeah, I agree. So don't be afraid of it. Yeah, just try to adapt your works. There are some jobs I think will disappear, or maybe only upscale versions will remain. For example, translation. I saw how ChatGPT or similar AI solutions translate things, both spoken or written. I see that translation will drop a lot, but
But
I
listen,
heard.
I disagree with you at some point
Mhm,
because, for example, uh, I don't remember the name of the guy, but the guy who translates Charles Bukowski's books to Turkish.
mhm.
Like, I don't think you need like a really good prompt engineer to get that level of translation
I would
because
just say that you for sure there are some. For example, if I'm writing something for my website, I can do with a German translation if I need German of
Mhm.
a ChatGPT translation. But if you are Sony, if you are Pfizer for a new medicine for Turkish market, and they have the text in English, would they trust ChatGPT to translate it and put it on their labels? That
Hell
translation?
no. Hell
Hell
no.
no.
Yeah.
They'll still pay hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars for a proper translation for that.
Yeah.
They can't take that risk.
Yeah. Totally.
Same for the books, of course, as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like expression is like there's still a lot of ways to go for AI to be as expressive as a writer. Like that's
Mm.
maybe they kind of get that in images and like in generated images and stuff, but like writing is like literature is another beast. It's
Mhm,
it's
mhm.
not like music, it's not like art. Yeah, it's a lot deeper and more complex. So
I agree. So, things will change. Take your position, try to learn a new skill if you can, if you really want to stay in the business, and go with it. I love when I see on Twitter some new, Photoshop is dead, in your dreams, they are
yeah,
just integrating AI, and one AI solution just does a small thing, and the rest cannot be done without Photoshop. So
exactly. Yeah, and there's always gonna be more complex stuff that will need human intervention at the end
yeah,
of the day. So yeah, Mehmet, let's wrap it up.
exactly. Let's do. So
So yeah, people keep joining our LinkedIn group, but are they watching our podcast? I wonder. Uh, it feels to me like they're just trying to network. So if you're really trying to network and talk about your freelancing business and have some interesting things to say, just reach out to us. Maybe we'll have you as a guest. So
yeah, and if you have questions,
always feel free to ask.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay then. Don't
So
forget
till
to, and
next
if
time.
you're not a member, don't forget to join our LinkedIn group, Freelancers Coffee Break.
Yeah.
We'll have the links in the show notes.
Till next time.
Yeah. Bye.
Bye.